Bonjour, travel lovers. Welcome back to another episode of Talk Travel with Samantha, the show where we help you travel smarter, vacation harder, and make memories that last long after your suitcase is unpacked. I'm Samantha from Fabulous Adventures Travel, and today we're heading just outside the City of Light to a place where European charm meets pure, unadulterated imagination. That's right, we're diving deep into Disneyland Paris. Whether you are a seasoned Disney Parks pro who has conquered Orlando and Anaheim, or a first-time traveler wondering if it's worth skipping a museum day in Paris to hang out with Mickey Mouse, today's episode is for you. We're going to cover how to get there, the unique quirks that make this resort so special, the must-see attractions, and of course, how to avoid the absolute worst of the crowds. So grab your mouse ears and a croissant because we are crossing the Atlantic. Let's start with the basics. Disneyland Paris is located in a suburb called Marne-la-Vallée, about 20 minutes east of central Paris. Now, I hear a lot of travelers ask, Samantha, I have only 4 days in Paris. Should I really spend 1 day at Disney? My answer is, if you appreciate incredible design, art, and immersive storytelling, and you like Disney, yes. Don't miss it. Disneyland Paris is widely considered by Disney historians to be the most visually beautiful of all the castle parks in the world. Because the creators knew they were building a theme park in the birthplace of classic fairy tales, they had to step up their game. Everything feels a bit more romantic, more detailed, and a little more grand. The resort is made up of 2 distinct theme parks, Disneyland Park, the classic fairy tale park, featuring Sleeping Beauty's castle. This park is where all the iconic rides are. So if you're looking for everything that you know and love about Disney, it is there in the Disneyland Park. Walt Disney Studios Park is right next door, and this is the cinema and Pixar theme park, which is currently undergoing a massive multi-year transformation. They literally just opened the world of Frozen. So I was just at Disneyland Paris in March, and they just opened it like maybe 2 weeks after I was there. I was like, oh, how did I miss this by I think it was honestly a week, which was pretty sad. I was like, no. So the World of Frozen is a brand new, amazing, immersive park, of course, about, Arendelle and all the adventures of Elsa and Anna. So it's a must see. So here is my pro tip. The best part about the layout, the 2 parks, the Disney Village, which is the shopping district, and the train station are all literally 5-minute walk from each other. No massive monorails or complex bus systems required just to switch parks. So you can do both parks in 1 day. So people ask me, is 1 day okay? It is okay. You're not going to see everything. Obviously, that is 100%, you're just not. Even if you got there, park open to park closed, you're just not seeing everything. Are you going to scratch most of the surface? Yes. But you're not going to see everything. That's for sure. So make sure that when you go, if you want to see everything, you go for a much longer time. So I would suggest staying on property, but we'll talk about that here in just a little bit because that helps you be able to just enjoy everything, especially now with the World of Frozen. That's just so much more. The park is just that much more bigger because that's been added on. So getting there from Central Paris is an absolute breeze. You can just hop on a train. It takes about 40 minutes. It drops you right off at the front gates of the park and costs less than 10 euros. Just make sure you buy a ticket specifically for Zone 5. Don't try to use a standard Central Paris Metro ticket or you'll get stuck at the turnstiles. You have got to buy the correct ticket. But you can hop on a train. It's very, very easy. All right, let's talk about what actually happens once you scan your ticket and walk under the Disneyland Hotel. So the Disneyland Hotel, it is literally right there in the park. It's absolutely beautiful. You walk under and into the park, which is really, really cool. And then it opens up to Main Street. If you've been to the American parks, you'll recognize the classics, but most all of them have a unique French and European twist. Let's do a quick lightning round of the absolute must-dos. So like I mentioned, I was just there in March. It was just wonderful. The weather was not the greatest. I will say that it rained. We did have some great days though. It did rain all day. So make sure that you bring your rain gear, and it was a rain that happened all day. So we were soaking wet. We were drenched. And that was the day that we had the Premier Pass, which I will discuss later. But know that I was like, we're not leaving because we paid all that money for this Premier Pass. We are not leaving this park. We are getting every single penny out of this Premier Pass. So the classics that are there that I say don't miss is, of course, this is obviously the only one. It's true to the Disneyland park. It's a La Château de la Belle à Bois dormant, which is Sleeping Beauty's castle, right? This isn't just a castle, it's a work of art. It's absolutely gorgeous. When you walk in, it's kind of got a hill on the side. It's got topiaries. It's a castle of its own. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's because Europe has already has real castles, right? So they had to make this one look great and straight out of an animated storybook with whimsical curved towers and square trees, like I said, topiary trees. But here's the secret: go underneath it. Hidden in the dark caverns below the castle is a massive animatronic dragon that wakes up, growls, and breathes smoke. It is spectacular and a little bit spooky. You can walk in the castle as well. You can walk up above, which is really, really super pretty and cool. And you can actually see Fantasyland from above, which is really, really neat. And you don't get to do that in many of the other parks. So definitely do that. Another favorite is Space Mountain, and it's called Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. So if you are a Space Mountain fan, this is one to not miss. Forget the smooth, dark coaster in Florida. The Paris version is a steampunk masterpiece inspired by Jules Verne. It actually launches you outside of the mountain using a massive cannon before sending you through loops and corkscrews in the dark. It is much faster than its American cousin, but an absolute rush. So this was a very big hit with the kiddos. They absolutely love Space Mountain. So I definitely would say do not miss it. Big Thunder is another one. Big Thunder, I think, is the coolest ride there, in my opinion, because it lives on its own island. It's surrounded by water. So I just think it's the best version of the ride and anywhere. So if you're a Big Thunder Mountain fan, you must go try it in Disneyland Paris. Or even if you just like it. Maybe you're not a fan, you just like it. So make sure that you go and try it there at Paris, because oh my gosh, to start the ride, the train plunges into darkness and dives under the riverbed. So like I told you, there's river all around it, and then rockets out into the island. So you spend most of the ride on the island, right, in Big Thunder, but then you have to go to and from underneath the water to get back to, the boarding area, which is so cool. Right next to Big Thunder is actual Phantom Manor, which is their version of the Haunted Mansion, right? But it's a tragic Western Gothic storyline centered around a jilted bride. So it's very dark, it's much darker, it's more atmospheric, and it's deeply moving. So definitely check out that one, because the house is actually completely different than any of the others that we have, which is really cool. And it kind of looks a little bit like the Psycho house, if you ask me. I'm like, this looks so crazy, but just a great ride. And obviously Haunted Mansion is always a great ride everywhere. So Pirates is also really different. So I would definitely try that one. And I think that's it for what I would say definitely try. That if you're a Disney fan and right? So over in the Walt Disney Studios park, you shouldn't miss Ratatouille, obviously, because of course it's Paris. You should definitely try that. And you got to get on Crush's coaster because of the fact that, of course, it's very, it's just in that park. So make sure you get on Crush's coaster, which is really, really super cute as well. And of course, you got to see World of Frozen because it's the only one of its kind. So you got to go see it. Super, super cute. So we're going to take a quick breather to thank our sponsors, but when we come back, we're going to talk about food, including where to get a glass of wine in the parks and my top strategies for beating lines. Stay tuned. Today's episode is all about Disneyland Paris, and if you're thinking this sounds amazing, but I wouldn't even know where to start, that's exactly why Fabulous Adventures Travel exists. My team and I take the stress out of planning, whether it's finding the right Disney hotel, adding Paris before or after your stay, arranging airport transfers, or making sure you don't miss the little details that can make a big difference. We've got you covered. We plan vacations all over the world, from Disney and Europe to luxury cruises, all-inclusive resorts, and bucket list adventures. Visit Fabulous Adventures Travel and let's start planning your next unforgettable trip. All right, well, let's talk about food, glorious food. So we're unlocking the secrets of Disneyland Paris, right? But here's the thing I'm going to tell you. What I want to say first about the food is that, of course, it's complete. If you are used to the US parks, it's going to be a complete different change, right? There's not a lot of burgers and fries. There's a couple pizza places. It's just not your junk food that you normally find in a Disney park. It's very European. Go figure. Whoa, it's European. Oh my God. No, everyone's shocked. But I just wanted to mention that because of the fact that, you know, if you're hunting around for a cheeseburger and French fries, it's going to be hard to find. I mean, they have steak frite everywhere, but that's what Paris is known for, right? They're steak frite. So it's literally everywhere, as well as chocolate mousse everywhere. But while we were there, which was super cool, they had these little huts and they had cheese and salami, and you could get these little cones of like, almost like a carry your own charcuterie board in a little cone. It was the coolest thing. I have to say, I was like, what, a charcuterie board cone to go? This is really cool. They also had dipped chocolate fruit and hot chocolate and hot apple cider, because of course we were coming off of winter. So one thing to note, in case you didn't know this, Disneyland Paris actually is open year round. It's 365, open all the time. So if you're in Paris, around winter, it's open. It doesn't close. It's just cold. Make sure you wear the appropriate clothes, but it's there. It's open. So go if you want to. Anyways, back to food. So the culture is a bit different, obviously, right? We just mentioned that you're in France, which means dining experience is meant to be savored. Unlike the US parks, back up, scratch that, starting that again. Unlike the dry US parks, alcohol is widely available here. So it's not the same as it is in the US, where you can't find a drink to save your life unless you're drinking around the world at Epcot. This is widely available here. You can go anywhere and they will, offer you a glass of wine, French wine, cold beer with your lunch at any sit down or quick service restaurants, which of course is the bigger one here, the quick service. So for an unforgettable meal, I do highly recommend booking a table at Bistro Chez Remy. It is right next to, of course, Ratatouille ride. And I can honestly say it was so cute. I could not stop taking pictures of it. Everything is bigger than normal, of course, because they want you to feel like you're Ratatouille, you're the rat, you're smaller. So everything was just massive. Like there was plates and, spoons and the trees were bigger. Like it was just, they did a really, really good job with it. So it's super cute. The food was actually really good as well. We had steak frite and a couple of other things, but I will say this is probably the best food we had in the whole time we were there. I do not think that the food is great in the parks, and not because it's European, but because it just wasn't good. We ended up eating in Disney Village a couple times because of the fact that we did stay on property. And in the Disney Village, listen, we were with kids. Of course, they're going to be like, let's eat at Rainforest Cafe. And we're like, there's not a good food that comes out of Rainforest Cafe. Sorry, Rainforest Cafe. It's just not good food. The ambiance is great and super fun and cute. And of course, that's what you're paying for. But the food is not great. So we did eat there the very first day because we were all starving. And the kids were like, we're going to Rainforest Cafe. So in we went. And the food was, listen, it was fine. It wasn't, fantastic, or I wouldn't say it was my best meal in Paris, but it was fine. What I will say is everywhere else that we ate was not that good. So we ended up eating at another place called like Texas Bill's or something in Disney Village, and whoo, baby, that was definitely interesting. So I have to say the food is just not great there. However, Bistro Chez Remy was great. I think the little carts are great. The little quick service places are great. I'm not sure the sit-down restaurants are the best. I know I'm not selling it, but I'm obviously always going to be completely truthful on how I feel about certain things. So, as I mentioned, make sure you get that Bistro Chez Remy reservation because of the fact that, first of all, it sells out very quickly. I will say that it took me a while to get it because I did not book my reservations at the time that they said that they opened. And so it definitely took me a while to get the reservation, but it popped up and we ended up getting it and we went for lunch. It was super great. So we had steak frites under massive forks and paper umbrellas, and it was super, super cute. And I think that's where I had chocolate mousse. That was amazing. It was so, so good. So I just want to mention a quick cultural note, obviously, because of the fact that service in France is generally more laid back. Most of Europe is like this. I know I've mentioned it a bazillion times. We like to move fast. We like to eat fast. We like to keep moving. And I'm going to jump really quickly and say that I'm actually in the Cotswolds right now. And there was a guy that was seating us, and he's like, I need this table at 4:00. You guys don't have a reservation. I need the table at 4:00. And I literally looked at him and I was like, we're Americans. We'll be out in 30 minutes. Just make sure you bring us our food. Because that's how we eat. And in Europe, they're not the same. It's even crazier, over in, I shouldn't say crazier, slower in France and Spain. So the French like to take their time, right? They like to kick back and hang out and enjoy their food. They're never going to rush you. The cast members are incredibly helpful. They're never going to rush you. And this is anywhere like in Paris. They're never like, sometimes they don't even come over to ask you if you want to leave. Like they never ask if you want a bill. Like you have to ask if you want the bill, usually. So the other thing I want to mention too is that English is very widely spoken in Disney. So I want to make a point in saying that it's in Disney. So obviously they knew that, lots of cultures are going to come over here. So they probably made sure to hire people with great English, right? So I never had an issue. Every single person spoke English. However, I did ask them every single time because I felt like culturally that was the correct thing to do, not just to assume that they all spoke English. So I'd say parlez-vous anglais, and they would say yes. So thankfully, they all did. But I will tell you, every single person, and most of the time they knew that I was American because apparently we all have beacons on us. So American. So they basically always said, hello, how can we help you? But the other thing I do want to point out is that you want to make sure that you say bonjour and merci. It does go a long way. Those are the key things that you kind of just want to say, we're trying. We may not know French, but we are trying. So please, if a language barrier is what was stopping you from going to Disneyland Paris, don't let it. They speak English very well over there. So this next segment, How to Plan and Beat the Crowds, is sponsored by Fabulous Adventures Travel, where we believe your vacation should begin the moment you book, not the moment you arrive. We take care of the details, so all you have to do is pack your suitcase. So let's talk logistics. How do you make the most of your time without spending hours standing in line? First of all, I think we all know, because I've mentioned it a bazillion times, I hate lines. So this is where, of course, you literally live in lines, right? In any park, any theme park, you're living in a line. Not if you do it the right way. So first of all, you want to download the Disneyland Paris app. That's a given. This is your lifeline. It tracks live wait times, shows you the parade schedules, the nighttime spectacular offerings, allows you to book dining reservations, which open up months in advance. And I did mention that. This is key if you want certain reservations. I know I mentioned that, but I wanted to throw that out again. The other thing that saved our life was the Disney Premier Access Pass. So Paris does not use a complimentary Fast Pass anymore. Instead, they have a Premier Access Pass. And you have a choice between the Ultimate or buying a couple single rides. So you can buy a pass for a single ride, or you can buy Ultimate Pass. We bought the Ultimate Pass because if you only have one day, and plus, honestly, we wanted to just get through all of the rides, this is the best thing to do. It helps you get through all the lines. It is basically skip the lines and get straight to the front. Well, you're not straight to the front, but you're going in the fast, basically quote unquote fast pass line, right? But on any ride that it's available. You can't do it on all because it's not available on all of them, but you are skipping the line and you are going to the fast pass line, which is amazing. So I cannot tell you how many that we did it on, and it was so great. But if it's outside of your budget, which is completely understandable because I got to be honest, it was not cheap in any way, shape, or form, you want to use the single-use passes for heavy hitters like Big Thunder Mountain, Crush's Coaster. Crush's Coaster is actually a really long wait time. And I have to say that Hyperspace Mountain was not super long of a wait time, but it can be up there. The other thing that we did to save time and to not stand in line was we bought a lot of seating passes. So you can buy special reserve seats for the shows, you can buy it for the parades, you can buy it for the nighttime spectacular. And I will tell you, it was the best thing that we did. Again, not cheap in any way, shape, or form, but perfect for not waiting in line and making sure that we get all of the time out of it. We actually went to the park 3 days, We went to the park 3 days in a row. The very first day, we just hit a couple of things. We were actually exhausted. We had just come off the plane. So we just hit some of the walk-through things, and, we kind of just looked around. We walked through the Disneyland Paris Hotel, which was amazing, by the way. The Disneyland Hotel was absolutely beautiful. They almost didn't let us walk through, but when they found out we were staying on property, we actually didn't stay there. We stayed at the Marvel Hotel. Then they let us walk through it. Oh, we ate at the brand new bar there. We had a drink at the Fleur de Lis, which is brand spanking new this year, I think, maybe. Just super, super cute. It's right there inside the Disneyland Hotel. Not to be missed if you're staying on property. Of course, go have a drink there. And they have some really cool creative drinks. Really, really cool. The other thing I suggest, and people don't, sometimes you're exhausted, you don't want to stay for the nighttime spectacular. I have to say, the nighttime projection and drone show over the castle is world class. Disneyland Paris pioneered using fleets of synchronized drones to paint images of your favorite characters in the night sky alongside fireworks. It will absolutely take your breath away. So we bought special seating for this, like I mentioned earlier, and it was magical and amazing. And when I say seating, it was really a special spot. We all stood there, to be honest, but it was right in front of the castle. There couldn't have been a better spot for us to stand. There really wasn't, honestly. I don't know if there could have been. But it was, and that show went on and on. Just when I thought it was over, I was like, oh no, it's not over yet. It was so great. I walked away going, wow, that was amazing. So they nailed it. Disneyland Paris nailed this nighttime spectacular. There was also one that was going to happen over at Walt Disney Studios, but it hadn't started yet because of everything that, hadn't opened yet because of the World of Frozen. So definitely check that one out as well. We didn't get to see it. So my last tip that I would say is stay at a Disney hotel. Right there on property. I don't care if it's one night, I don't care if it's 2 nights, but stay there because it will help you. It'll help you with early park entry, close proximity to parks, and immersive experiences. So one of the cool things that we also did on our very first day was we met some characters because it was an experience at the Marvel Hotel where you met Marvel characters. And it was really, really cool. They just did a really good job. There is a bar at the hotel called the Skyline Bar. Oh my gosh, so cool. It's really cool. So again, very immersive, and it helps with the feel and the excitement of being at Disney. So stay at Disney property, even if it's for one night. You'll thank me later. It's great. And there's a couple there. I won't dive into it because we're running out of time, but make sure that you kind of look up where they're located, because the closer you are, obviously the shorter the walk, which is great. So, that's one of the reasons why you want to stay there. So, is Disneyland Paris worth the trip? Absolutely. It is a blend of classic Disney storytelling and sophisticated European design. It's accessible, beautiful, and offers some of the best thrill rides in the entire Disney portfolio. That's all for today's episode of Talk Travel with Samantha. If you enjoyed this virtual trip to France or need help with your travel plans, contact me at www.talktravelwithsamantha.com. If you are listening on iHeart Podcasts, please make sure to leave us a 5-star review and share this episode with your favorite travel buddy. Let me know, have you been to Disneyland Paris? What do you think of the dragon under the castle? And until next time, travel smarter, vacation harder. We'll see you next time.